Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Bravo Tea with the Stay-at-Home Mom. I'm Erica, and I am so happy that we had the season premiere, season 20 of The Real Housewives of Orange County. I mean, thank God we had Vicki back in our life, whooping it up. She's whooping it up in Mexico. She has problems getting back home, but she's like, I don't even care. I'm stuck here for possibly a month. And Shannon is staying with her and visiting her. And it's going to be difficult this season because Vicki is friends and has mended things with Tamra. Shannon has not. Vicki takes Shannon to Andale. She's like, can the Tres Amigas get back to being 3 instead of 2? And I don't think Shannon's going to have it because then they tell us this story of off filming time. They were at the Quiet Woman. It's always the Quiet Woman. Now, I'll tell you what this show did for the Quiet Woman. Lots of PR. And it could be negative or positive because positive people are like, oh, I want to see Housewives there. Or negative, be like, oh, they filmed there. I don't want to go there. But irregardless, we're always talking about the Quiet Woman. And shit's always going down at the Quiet Woman. So they were all there having dinner. And Tamra and Shannon were really going at it. Tamra said, you can't even find a man. You're an alcoholic. And I forget the comebacks that Shannon had for Tamra. But I'm really like tired of Tamra always talking about Shannon's drinking. Okay, perhaps she drinks too much. Over it. We don't care. It's just like on The Valley. We're over it about Danny. I'm so over it. I can't wait to talk about that and recap that a little. But Tamra will just never bite her tongue, and she always says she wants to move forward with Shannon, but she's the one that brings up the past. For me, I mean, Shannon isn't holding a grudge necessarily. She just doesn't want to be your friend because you're not a nice person. I don't know if you would call that holding a grudge, because to some point, could you say holding a grudge is being upset with people with things they've done to you? Sure. But it's also just like, you're not a good person. You're not nice to me because you did this, this, and this. I'm not going to be your friend. Call that a grudge if you will, but I got to agree with Shannon. They're going to have to coexist on this show, though. So I feel like Tamra needs to just accept they could sit at different ends of the table. They don't really have to communicate, but they do have to film together. And I feel like Shannon would do that, but Tamra also knows the reality TV game. She wants to cause drama on screen. And what better drama to talk about and cause than real drama? She really is saying these things to Shannon on and off camera. And Tamra goes out with Gina and Heather, and she says she felt like no one had her back at the reunion. And they were all taking a group photo while she's sitting there crying. And Heather apparently invited everyone to dinner, but didn't invite Tamra. But Heather's like, no, I did invite you. I can't believe they even all go to dinner after. I did see a picture, I remember, of some of them, Heather being one of them, with like espresso martinis afterwards. Tamra had an awful time at the reunion. You wanted to go to dinner with all those people? I don't think so. We're missing Gretchen. She is not there. I don't even know if she's going to pop in at all, because I did see in later episodes they're going to have like a party celebrating 20 years for Orange County, and like Gina's going to be there, other Gina. And then Joe, and the one that had the really wealthy husband that they actually used her gates at the beginning credits. I forget her name. And I saw who's the one that's friends with Emily that used to be back in the day? Lizzie, saw a glimpse of her. And it's going to be interesting. So I wonder if Gretchen and Slade will maybe pop up on that episode. But I am glad we don't have to suffer through seeing Slade this season. And we're getting a new girl. We don't really have her at the beginning. It's more at the end at Heather's little Valentine's Day party. She's having a little party, throwing it for everyone. And her name is Carmela. I love me some Sopranos, so I love that name. But I know I'm not going to like Carmela because she's coming for my girl Vicki. You don't come for the OG of the OC. We see in the whole season trailer, she's like, oh, well, you're new too. And she's like, I started this franchise. And she's like, well, everything has an expiration date. you do not talk to Vicki Gunvalson like that. She is a legend. I'd say she's the most legendary one on all the shows because Vicki's just very natural, very normal. She was, the first one. She is the OG. She's the OG of the OC, but she's just the OG, period. Orange County was the first show. So she really just paved the way. I mean, we got so many good episodes with her lines. The family van is always going to go down in infamy. But I'm really glad she's back. She said that she is so happy right now with her boyfriend, Michael, and that she plans to just be with him forever. I don't know if they'll get married, but she said she's worried about her own son named Michael, that he's just like not going to get married and have kids because he's already 40. Can we believe it, guys? Remember when he was on this show back in the day and she came in and visited him at college and she's carrying like cases of beer. She's like, woohoo! And he's like mortified on his flip phone. He's like, why is my mom here right now? And she does the keg stand. Those were the good old days, guys. I really liked, they had the kids on the shows a lot. And I feel like Jersey always did that too. I like the shows where we see the kids too. And it's not just about the adults fighting and everything, but I'm excited for this year. I think it's going to be a good season. And yeah, I feel like not too much happened at the beginning. Now, of course, we did have them set up like a little fight towards the end at Heather's party. So Jen and Shannon think that Heather talks about Tamara a lot when she's not there. And then when she's there, she's like, oh, I love Tamara and I have her back and blah, 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 blah. But she's not telling her anything honest to her face. And it is true. It's like, say it to her face. Be like, you need to calm down. You need to do this. You need to do that. But she's not. And I think she also just doesn't feel like poking the bear, which I get. But Jen is definitely setting that up for the next episode. Because Tamara's like, thanks for telling me, Jen. And they've had like a terrible relationship. So she ignores Shannon at the party. Shannon ignores Tamara, vice versa, whatever. But Vicki and Tamara talk. So Vicki will definitely spend the season trying to mend the two of them. But I don't know if we'll ever get a Tres Amigas back. And it was sad seeing Archie. Shannon gets another dog named Troy, and it's sad seeing Archie on screen because we now know in real time he has passed away, which is really sad. But let's talk about In the City, because I feel like a lot didn't like really happen on Orange County. We're just kind of like checking in on everyone and like whatever. So the gang is all heading to Connecticut for their first little like overnight trip. But on the way, they make a pit stop to go play paintball. And I was like, okay, no one is dressed for this. But they did give them some overalls and clothes and different shoes and whatnot. So as soon as they get to the house, it's very much like an episode of The Housewives where they're on a trip, they're arguing over the room choices. Lindsay and Georgina have decided that they deserve the primary because they are single moms who haven't had a break in a while, to quote Lindsay. And I get it. Like, even if we are married and have a spouse there and we're not single moms, like, we need a break from our kids. But Lindsay did just film Summer House, like, right before filming In the City. So I feel like that was a lot of breaks when you got to stay in the Hamptons. And your daughter does go stay with her dad. So, like, that's a break as well. Kind of not seeing it that way, Lindsay. Like, if you want to think about it, since I am not divorced, I have to spend every night with my kids. I don't share my kids with somebody and they like leave the house and go somewhere else for the night. So Lindsay actually does get a break. And it's when the daughter goes and stays with the dad, from which it sounds like she does. So I don't know. And like I said, she just filmed Summer House. So I get it, but I also don't get it at the same time. So no one really enjoyed her running to get that room because they were going to give it to Yvonne and Nick to make up for turning their wedding dinner into like a disaster. And Whitney doesn't like that Lindsay just uses being a single mom as an excuse for everything, which I understand. And I'm going to tell you what right now, Lindsay will eat Whitney up and spit her out. And Lexi is like hearing this, and she's very shy and timid too. So nobody's going toes with Lindsay except maybe like Danielle. So Amanda and Kyle are sharing a room, and there's 2 little twin beds in the room. And I thought for a second they weren't going to share a room at all, which would have been just really weird. She is like, I don't even want to share a room with Kyle. I'm like so annoyed. And it's like, just please get divorced. I don't even know why you're bothering saying, let's try and separate and try and work on it. It seems like you hate him. Just literally get divorced back then. So the walls are pretty thin, and Yvonne can hear Lindsay talking shit about her because Yvonne would like an apology for how Lindsay kind of like escalated the night and didn't diffuse it at her wedding dinner. And Lindsay is like, okay, well, like, I'm sorry, but you could tell when Lindsay apologizes, it's never really like genuine. She thinks she doesn't have to apologize. And Lindsay is pointing out that she's like, I already went to your wedding 2 years ago. I went to your bridal shower. I went to this. I went to that. And it's like, this was just your civil ceremony. And then like we had a dinner after. And of course, they're going to be like, oh, this is like for your wedding and blah, 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 because we're filming. So, duh. But Andrea's wife comes in and tells Lindsay that Whitney thinks she's just trying to play the mom card and victimize herself. And I'm going to tell you right now, this isn't going to end well. It's not going to end well. They should tread lightly with Lindsay because she will not be having any of this. But they all sit down at dinner, and then they talk about Kyle signing with his manager. And him and his manager's goal is to make him $250,000 for the year. And he's going to be DJing, headlining one of the biggest clubs. And Amanda's upset by all this. And I just don't understand at this point. She signed a year lease alone, which is very definitive. But she's mad that he's doing this. You're the one that moved out, and then he's doing this, and you're mad. He's working. He's not moving out on you. Can you imagine if Kyle moved out and signed a year lease? Oh my God, she would have flipped out. But I guess it's okay that she's freaking out. I don't get it. I don't get it. Andrea is trying to give Kyle some nice advice, though. He says he doesn't want to hear it. He's like, Kyle, you need to love her. You need to be nice, and you needed to do this. And like when you are married, you can't act like that. And he's like, please stop with this marriage advice. You talked to me in 10 years, you haven't even known Lexi for 10 years. I mean, it is true. He's known Amanda for so long, and I feel like people just do not see the hardcore ins and outs of the relationship. Everyone's getting and seeing the sad Amanda crying at the table, and then they see the kind of drunk, angry Kyle. No one's seeing behind the scenes. And that's why once this West thing happened, I think it changed everyone's tune about Amanda. But even before the West stuff was happening, I had her number. I never really liked her. I'm like, you're obviously miserable, so you need to just like figure this shit out. But we go to the valley. We have Zach waking up, and he says his face is fat and he has a huge headache. Well, I would assume so because you freaking banged your head on a street sign in Mexico, which is just wild. But it's Danny's birthday. They're going on a boat. It's like Miami Vice theme, which nobody really knows what the show is, except, of course, Jesse. And Janet tells Lala and Michelle she's not going to go on the boat because she loves to make herself the victim, honestly, and like the poor me thing. And she said last time she was on a boat with these people, Kristen almost threw her off, so she's just going to sit this one out. And Lala said she's going to stay back with her because she doesn't want her to be alone, but I think it's really because she just doesn't really want to celebrate Danny's birthday either and doesn't care. Zach and Jasmine have a little private talk on the boat and said that they do want to confront Kristen about what she said about their drinking and Brittany's and whatever. And Lala and Janet sit by the pool. And I do like Lala's bathing suit. I've seen these like double, like layered things. So they do it in bathing suits and they do it in sports bras. And I used to think it looked stupid because it looked like you're wearing like 2 bathing suits or 2 bras. But now it's kind of growing on me, and hers was cute. The colors were cute. It was like a butter yellow and then like a lilac light purple. It's pretty. So Brittany is resting because she wants to enjoy dinner later. And I actually don't even know how she has just had all this surgery and then doing all these things here and whatnot. But Janet starts opening up to Lala and says she wants to tell her something that she doesn't like to share and never really has before. She said when she was in school that a boy sexually assaulted her, and she never even told Jason until they had been married for a year. And she said this is why she has a hard time with the whole Danny situation, because this guy made her feel like it was all her fault. He never apologized, called her names. So I feel like Janet sees Danny not really taking accountability and blaming her for what happened, which now that she's told this story, I understand a bit, but I also feel like she just doesn't understand that she inserted herself. And if she didn't do that, none of this would really be happening. It happened to Jasmine, and Janet cares about this more than Jasmine. So therefore, of course, Danny's going to be upset with you. And he did take accountability by apologizing to Jasmine, because that's who he needed to apologize to, not you, because it didn't even happen to you. Just very frustrating with Janet. I feel like that's very sad, and I empathize for her that she opened up with that. But I feel like she's just not getting that when she inserts herself in these things, there is going to be backlash and repercussion because people are going to be upset. So if you don't want to be yelled at by somebody, just don't even insert yourself. Jasmine's a big girl. She took care of it all by herself with Danny. You don't need to get involved. So Michelle gets emotional on the boat with Lacey and says that when she was married to him, he was not overly affectionate like that with her, even though she begged him to be. This is getting really strange. She is crying now, and I just truly believe that it's because she is single and she's just sad that Jesse's with someone so happy, affectionate, and she's all alone. Because like Jesse pointed out, we had to watch her last season date someone while he was all alone. And that was okay. He wasn't telling bug-eyed Aaron, don't touch Michelle, it's going to make me emotional. And Michelle wouldn't have given two shits about Jesse's feelings. So I find it funny a year later, we're supposed to care about your feelings, Michelle? No. So when they get to this little private beach island, Lacey is telling Jesse all of this. And he said maybe she should toughen the F up. And Lacey either really cares about Michelle's feelings or she really wants to look good on camera caring about Michelle's feelings. Because she said, don't talk like that. She needs her feelings validated. And Jesse said, well, let me ask you a question. If Aaron was on this trip, do you think she'd still be crying to you about all this? She's like, it doesn't matter. I'm with Jesse. It does matter. It's not his job to worry about Michelle's feelings anymore. And like I said, he had to watch her last year, so I don't know why now all of a sudden we're crying and sad and mad. But I like that Lacey and Michelle would to move forward and not be crazy and be nice to each other. That always is making everyone's life easier. So Jesse and Kristen go off and talk about her and Luke from the night before. And he informed her that Luke said, if their relationship continues to be like this, there will be no wedding. And she's like, oh, wow, that's terrible. And that's really messed up to say. So Kristen talks to Luke about it, and she's very upset. And I understand what he means. It's like a Carl and Lindsay thing. We're fighting all the time. You think we're then going to get married? No. You need to rein it back and understand what's happening. So everyone gathers for Danny's birthday that night. And as always, the topic is Danny drinking. Lala goes to sit down with Jesse, Danny, Schwartz, and she's just living to start a fight with all of them. She is really showing how much she hates men, in my opinion. Jesse points out and says that, all of this stuff that they're always rehashing every episode, which is also getting on my nerves. 3 years ago, doesn't even involve you. You weren't even there. He already apologized for it. I agree. I'm agreeing with Jesse so much this season. It's actually scary. I don't think Danny is like saying he didn't do it. It's just like, why are we still talking about it when he apologized to Jasmine for it already? And Jasmine's the one that needs to stand up and say to everyone, please shut up. Please shut up. I'm done talking about what happened between me and Danny. And he did apologize. End of story. Done. Janet is like actually being so weird too. She's like very odd and awkward on camera, and just odd and awkward in general. So Kristen is talking to like Brittany, Zach, and Jasmine, and Nia's there too. And they're just talking about like what was said at that lunch, because Janet was like a little rat and was like, you guys need to know what's happening in this lunch. People are talking about you. And it's like, okay. She's just standing there. She's like very robotic. And it's just really weird. She loves to stir the pot. And then when it's time to talk about the pot that she stirred, she stands there and wants to stay there and like say nothing, do nothing. And Kristen was like, are you just going to stand there like a robot? And then like Janet says something and Kristen mocks her. I love it. And then she like walks away. That's her MO too. I'm tired of the walking away all the time. Like just stand there and fight back, yell back, say something back. Like you want to start all this shit, but then run away when people confront you about the shit you started. So Janet is also trying to say to Jesse that when Danny went in the pantry that time on their trip and drank alcohol and shut the door, because probably he didn't even realize she was in there, to be honest. It's like a walk-in pantry. She said she felt so uncomfortable and didn't know if like something was going to happen. She's really taking this to a new level. And let me tell you, when Danny and Nia see that scene and say like, oh, I was frightened that he would like put his hands on me. It's like, girl, Danny wouldn't want to do that at all to you. I don't know why you think that. I am so sad you had this situation with this guy in school, but you need to stop thinking that Danny is like murdering people and collecting them in a basement. It's just terrible. It really is terrible. Like, honestly, if I was Danny, I would just not even be on this show anymore. It's just pretty terrible. But Nia is trying to remove Danny from like the whole situation. And Lala is just like really going in on Danny and then follows Danny. And then Nia stands like in between them. And she's like, why can't I talk to him? And she's like, it's enough. And it is. It's like at the end of the day, it's this man's birthday too. Like, please shut up, Lala. Just who cares this much to ruin every moment you're all together? And it's like, why do you want to talk about it? Every moment you're all together. And she says, what did she say? Oh, well, she's like, you need to take accountability. My sobriety depends on my accountability and blah, 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 and all this preaching. And he said, why don't you go to your husband? And then she said, with like her eyes all squinty, she's like, oh, if this is what a husband looks like, I don't want it. You have him. I don't want it. And then she goes over to a table and she's like, you stupid little Peter Pan, pointing the long pointed fingernail with the like bandana, with the squinty eyes, like getting all ghetto and like all like, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, honestly, if I was Danny, I definitely would have went into the Randall stuff. Even though Jax made the comment a long time ago, you're the one that sucks dick for a Range Rover. I mean, classic line. But it's true because we all know why Lala was with Randall. It's not because she liked him by any means, because everyone she's ever even mentioned, pointed out after Randall, looks nothing like Randall and has the personality the opposite of Randall. So it's like, you were definitely with him for the money. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. You want to go in on Danny all the time. You were getting a Range Rover day 2 of knowing somebody. That's weird. And I would just hit it with all that. Like, and the truth is, she doesn't like Danny. So to make drama for the show, which she comes on with a calculated agenda, she just chooses to always go after him because she doesn't really probably want to go after anybody else, but truthfully, it's just getting tiring that every episode is about him and the Jasmine thing and something that happened 3 years ago that he's already apologized for and that Jasmine doesn't even care about anymore. So it's like, just please, we're done with it. We're done. Bye-bye. Like, I can't believe he wouldn't leave though and stayed there, but it is his birthday. Like, Lala, you need to leave. If you're so uncomfortable by him, you need to leave. And that's that. I just feel like she loves to ruin every moment. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next season. Like I said, and put it in the universe. If Sheena came on, that would be amazing because she would have to be forced to confront everything with her. Like, Bravo needs to set that up and make that happen and just offer Sheena a lot of money because I want to see that. I don't mind if they would have talked about this Danny stuff a little, but it's like, I'm so over it that it's like every episode is about Danny and Jasmine and that. And it's like them thinking he's an alcoholic. I believe Nia when she's like, he like doesn't drink at home. They're filming a show that we do want you guys to drink and get a little drunk. And they're away from their kids. So I'm sorry, why wouldn't he be getting drunk? Why wouldn't he be drinking? It was cute when Michelle was getting like naked in front of Jesse and Lacey like all the time, which was very weird. And she was drunk. That was fine and cute. And they say it's because Danny makes everyone uncomfortable. So then he's also asking everyone like, oh, do I make you uncomfortable? And everyone's saying no, but then behind his back, they're all saying yes. It's very annoying. I do wonder what will happen really with Brittany because she, I feel like, is really leaning more towards Janet's side, which is really sad. She knew Kristen first. I'd rather be friends with Kristen any day. And Brittany needs to get off the like, you're not even friends with Nia. How do you know Brittany? Like, they just had a baby together. I could see them being friends and they're there for each other. Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean they're not friends. Very annoying. I thought the whole trip was pretty much a disaster because Zach hurt his head and all they're doing is talking about Danny and drinking. It's just really getting annoying and crazy. And I forgot Janet even had a husband. Go back to your husband. I forgot she had one because he's at home he's like injured. So I guess we'll get him on the next episode. But we got Melania Giudice, guys, acting a little erratic, a little crazy. Like, I don't know what's happening. So she dyed her hair red, which is fine. I'm not saying that's the erratic, but I just feel like everything she's doing is like a cry for help. She posts like 20 TikToks a day. Apparently she's hooking up with a guy or like has a boyfriend. There was a guy in a couple of her videos. People are like, who's that? It's a hard launch, blah, blah. Cops were called. Cops came. We still don't really know all the details. I'm really curious what happened. I wonder if we'll see it on the show, if they'll talk about it on the show. You know, someone will write that in for the reunion, probably me. I just hope she's okay. I just feel like she's spiraling a little, and I think it's because all her childhood trauma is just like caught up with her. I mean, they had a rough go if you think about it. And then speaking of the Giudice girls, I've been trying to watch Next Gen NYC, but guys, don't be mad at me and don't be mean to me, but it's a little rough for me to do so. I only care about the housewives' kids, number one. And then number two, sometimes the way they act and talk, I can't. It's that Gen Z, and I can't. I'm a millennial or Gen X, whatever. Is it? They're X? I don't know. Whatever it is, they're too young, and it gives me agita sometimes when I watch it, so I just really haven't. And Georgina, I guess, is still not washing her hands. She was just on Watch What Happens Live, but I have them taped. I heard Ariana and Hudson are back together. That's what Georgina said. So that's good because I was sad for them that they weren't together because I felt like they had been together for so long. They were friends. They were very close. So if they're happy, we're all happy, and I'm happy for that. And let's see what else. Oh, Jesse went on Watch What Happens Live with Lacey. Andy asked him about how he feels about Dr. Dre, and he's like, I found out when everybody else did, and he's like, I think Michelle will try and make that last as long as she can. Weird, though. Weird pick. Are we going to get Dr. Dre on screen? Like, we want to talk about opposite. Him and Jesse are like opposite. Aaron and Dr. Dre are opposite. I think Lala is very wishing she could be with Dr. Dre. I feel like that would be like a dream come true for her. She's probably asking Michelle if he has any friends, because I also feel like Michelle's getting so much attention. Like, Lala would want the attention to be with like a famous man, because I feel like that's why she liked it with Randall. So I'm actually surprised she hasn't just gotten together with like another famous guy or a guy with lots of money. I don't know. I guess her priorities are different at the moment, which I'm happy for her, but she needs to stop the man hate train, because I get it. You don't like Randall, but that's not every guy. So I saw Melissa and Teresa were at the airport. So I know they're filming The Real Housewives of New Jersey. So I don't know if they're going on a cast trip or they're doing another type of trip, but I don't know. I feel like that's all she wrote. People have been talking about if they think West would be on In the City, if he's still with Amanda, which who knows if that'll even reach all the way from there. It's going to be rough, them being together this summer, and she's just putting up with all his shenanigans to prove a point. She wants to stick it out. That's why I thought Tom and Raquel would have stuck it out a little longer just to prove a point, but they didn't. I don't know. I just have a feeling that it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good this summer for them. They're definitely going to break up, or I don't know. I think she will like beg to have Kyle back. But Kyle's like hanging out with Ava or whatever from Next Gen, and then Sally from Southern Charm. I saw in the preview for In the City, because I guess they pick the cameras back up also at the end. And Kyle and Amanda talk, and she's like, maybe you, me, West, and Sally could all double date. And I'm like, are you like mentally okay? Or is your brain okay? If she thinks Kyle kissing Sally is mean or bad, or even on the same wavelength of what her and West are doing, she needs help. She needs to get her head examined. But I feel like that's all I got for you guys. As always, you can find me at Bravo T with the Stay at Home Mom, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere you get your podcast. And I hope you guys are enjoying your summer. I will not be doing an episode, I think, because I do leave for a week vacation. So may or may not have a new one out next week, but maybe I will. It'll just be late. It won't be probably on its regular scheduled time. See ya.